What's up, people? SimFBallCritic here, playing some Battlefield 4, playing some of the Dragon's Teeth, playing in that area, the new DLC. And I'm having some fun with it, man. As you're going to see here in this game, I start off pretty fast, but then, I go on a dying streak versus a killing streak. So, I still evened out, man. I was still able to get more kills than deaths. But as you can see, I started off, I get killed fairly quick. I believe I'm about to get killed right here in just a moment. Peeking over this little area here. Boom, there it is. But then after that, I go on a hot streak, man. And, from the way I was playing, you would have thought that I would have had, like, a crazy amount of kills in this game as I get revived here by my teammate. Basically, what I wanted to talk about here, man, like I said, I'm playing the Dragon's Teeth. I believe this is Dragon Pass. I think that's the name of this map. I'm not sure of that. But I just wanted to point out a couple things, man, that, some things that I've been wanting to say. Not really a couple things. It's really just one topic. But something that I've really wanted to say, for a while now in this game, as you get a lot of the DLC, you got a lot of different map packs that come out. I finally did upgrade to premium, so, I feel like I am getting my money's worth. But one thing that I don't like is why can you not play all of the maps at once? And, maybe some of you guys might not know what I'm trying to say, but if you remember, if I'm not mistaken, if you remember like in Battlefield 3, I believe, once you downloaded other maps or new maps or what have you, you were able to access all of them. You could go into Team Deathmatch or Conquest or, whatever it is you like to play, and there would just be a map rotation. I remember even like, if you didn't have that map, of course there were certain servers that you couldn't get in and things like that, and it's still like that as far as here. I like this kill real quick, let me say that. Throw that grenade in there, and I wasted that second grenade, man. I didn't know whether or not I was going to get him with the first one, but that was a pretty smart move right there. But yeah, man, I mean, you used to be able to just basically put it on the game mode that you prefer, whether you're in quick match or what have you, or whether you're in a custom server, and you would be able to rotate through all of the map packs. And I so wish you could do that here in Battlefield 4 because there's so many maps. Now you have, like I said, the Dragon's Teeth, and then you have the China Rising and Second Assault and so forth. I just wish that you would be able to just access all of those maps at once, because I definitely like Second Assault, where it's bringing in some of the older maps from Battlefield 3, and they're new and improved. They have better, graphics and things like that, and they have the Levolution. So I just really wish that we would be able to access all of the maps at one time. Hopefully that's something that they could offer. I don't know if they could do that with Battlefield 4. I'm not sure how it's structured on the back end. But I just really hope, man, going forward that they kind of, go back to that model because, I don't know. Maybe it matters to me and maybe some of you guys don't really care. But to me, it just feels like, I hate having to choose what map pack I want to be in. I just wish that I was able to, jump in the game with some friends and, we're going to run Conquest for several hours. And, we would visit a whole lot of different maps, the Battlefield 4 maps and China Rising and, Dragon's Teeth and all that, and, I've said it before, I know I'm definitely repeating myself here in the video, but that's just how much it bothers me. I just want to be able to access them all rather than having to choose and only be in one area, because definitely like with Second Assault, and it could be like that with some of the other packs here, I'm not sure, but definitely like with that one, it's only 4 maps, versus the amount of maps that you get automatically with Battlefield 4. You don't want to just get stuck in 4 maps if you decide to go into Second Assault. You understand what I'm saying? So I'll go ahead and move on from that, man. That was just something that I wanted to make a video about. Definitely don't want to keep going on about that. And, just try to commentate this here footage the best I can. So trying to learn this map, man, and I really like this map. It feels like a maze. It definitely feels like a maze. You got to try to navigate yourself through and figure out what's going on. And, and I like the close quarters action. I really, really like Conquest as well. I have some footage that I was playing with my guy DJ81 and Kid and Virtual Footballer. We had a good time, man, when I was able to get on with those guys, and they've definitely converted me to a Conquest player. I've always liked Conquest, but the reason why I don't play it as much is because, it's not as much fun when it's just yourself, on the console, when you're running solo. and you don't have any, friends that you're teaming up with or any buddies in your chat or what have you, it's not as much fun because I've noticed, man, in Battlefield, a lot of people don't really talk that much. It's very rare that you run into like random players and they have their mic on. Or what usually happens is, wait a minute, let me talk about this. Look at this. What's up with my shooting right there? There's no way I shouldn't have died right there, man. The guy only had 8% left in health, so I got to get my aim game up right there. But that's a kill that I should have been able to add, to my list versus a death. And there it is again, no aim right there. The guy gets me from long range. But yeah, people really don't talk, man. And then when they do talk, it's always like music or something in the background. It kills me. You ever run across those guys where, and it's not a big deal that they're playing music, but I'm talking about the ones that the mic is so loud. Like they just got miscellaneous noise in the background. Or their TV is turned up super loud, so you hear the game in the mic and you hear miscellaneous noise. It just kills me, man. And I know you can mute those people or what have you, but other than that, man, that's usually what I find when I run solo. But playing with those guys, it was so much more fun, man, because I'm one of the people who like to, do the missions. I like to do the objectives or what have you. So it's fun when you have a group of guys. Like, we would go together and we'd try to lock down an area. And then, we would circle back around and we'd stay there for a while and kind of defend it. And then, we'll move on to the next flag. And, we just had each other's back, letting people know where someone is. Like if a tank is coming, we'd call that out. So, be careful on the left side, tank is coming. It was just a lot of fun, man, playing with a group of guys. And look at this right again. Me blindly running right there, Got saved there. Luckily, I had a guy, helping me out there. And again, I get revived here. And this was a crazy sequence right there because even though I got revived, had that guy not still been there, I would have been dead again. So, some funny gameplay here. But yeah, man, that's just how I feel, man. I'd rather play with friends or what have you, and it's a lot more fun that way. And because of that, I'm becoming more of a fan of Conquest versus Team Deathmatch. And, like I said, the reason why I play Team Deathmatch so much is because I like close quarters. It's a lot more fun as well when you're not running with, friends or what have you. So as you can see, man, I go 9-7. I told you guys this before. I'm not a beast player at all. I do what I can. I do fairly well. Generally, I'm going to have more kills than deaths. And it just is what it is. I'm definitely not one of those beast players or some of those other commentators. But anyway, man, let me know how you guys feel about what I said about the maps. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Let me know what you think. Don't forget, guys, every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, Sim Standard Radio. If you want to give us a call, you can reach us at 914-338-0794.